Hello there. Welcome once again to the friendliest cricket podcast. We have stretched bits and pieces all the way to episode number 60, and stretching is a repeating theme this week. Firstly, why did Harmanpreet Kaur not stretch? Especially on a rare day when the Australian women's team were being stretched. Over in men's cricket too, New Zealand have managed to stretch Bazball for a change, and it looks like they're taking the second test all the way into day 4. Small wins, eh? Meanwhile, in India, Australia are not getting stretched, but they're getting stretchered off the field, one player at a time. Following abject surrender in the first 2 tests, their team is in full disintegration mode with multiple players heading back home. First, Alan Border gave a scar. See what I did there? Border gave a scar to their pride by lampooning Steve Smith for giving Jadeja a thumbs up. And now, for the third test, Smith will lead them and try hard to sandpaper over the cracks that have appeared in the side. Australia is so bad that the test has been moved indoor behind closed doors. To talk about all this, as always, we have a fine group of gentlemen joining us, starting with the Miner. Sorry, this is where I had Mohan Singh.
Okay, also, cool. Can I just say, after the last episode was like 60% women for once, don't start off saying, as always, we love gentlemen.
Actually, we should, because last episode was the exception that proves the rule that this is a sausage fest like none other. We had a great episode featuring 60% women last time, but it is a full manel this time over. Starting off with the venerable Mike Mohan. Back in the 80s and 90s, Tamil cinema was ruled by the singing and dancing awesomeness that was Mike Mohan, who played the romantic everyman soup boy hero in several movies. But he had a voice so bad that they always got someone else to dub for him. Our Samir Mohan has a better voice, but is actually a mic-less Mohan this week because he is tuned into bits and pieces without his podcast mic. Say hello, Samir. How are you sounding today?
Mic check on. Mic's working. Thank God. But yeah, we should actually insert that Mandral Vandathendrelakku at this point because I feel like that without my
this Samir
mic.
Always live editing the podcast. Insert this.
Insert this. Insert. Please check references. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, he will include in show notes. That is no repeating joke on this podcast. Okay. Last week, Akash Chopra was not the only Chopra in the news and the airwaves. Cricket's most romantic fan, Abhishek Chopra, was also setting the airwaves on fire, having launched an incredible new cricket podcast, Heads and Tails, in the company of another legendary, dashing, inimitable cricket know-it-all. Chopper Nose used to have a great heat streak on this podcast, but for the past few weeks, he's been more of a Pami Bangwa with his inconsistent appearances, but always, Chopper Nose is a Travis friend of this podcast. Say hi, Chops. How are you doing?
All good. Thank you so much. So good to be back here.
Hey, also, which is this other podcast? And who is this other fellow?
Dashing. I heard
needling bananas.
While the rest of the country is celebrating India's uber dominance over Australia and the BGT, we have this guy who is happier than anyone else for reasons that have nothing to do with India. Tony Sebastian is pleased as punch because A, he's about to become a father for the second time, and B, because his favorite team, New Zealand, are getting destroyed by Bazball. You can use Bernal and Jadeja ointment to deal with scars and wounds, but there's nothing you can do to wipe the smile off Tony's face this week. Say hi, Tony. How are you doing?
Hi. Yeah, the smile says it all. I hope it translates into my voice.
It is sounding very good. Back on the pod again is the wonderful Max Da Vinci, who has to be the most dedicated user of Willow TV in the whole world. Living in the US, the ferocity of his cricket fandom overcomes the sphericity of the planet, and he watches everything ranging from Border Gavaskar Trophy to Women's World Cup to ILT20 to SA20 to Book Cricket to Pakistan Super League to Bazball to Road Safety Series, and now also Celebrity Cricket League, apparently. He doesn't stop watching cricket when he sleeps. But only if he sleeps. In the middle of all this, he also cooks a lot of food and parents 2 kids. Da Vinci is a man of many skills. Say hello, Max, aka Mayur. How are you doing?
Hello. This is awesome. And yes, the Celebrity Cricket League is the greatest show on earth. and I will take that anywhere.
that entire intro, Nitin, was working itself towards a punchline that involved Da Vinci's Resolve, right? You are missing the easy ones.
Yeah, except yeah, very bad.
He did an AJ.
So on Heads and Tails, you have Abhishek Chopra with show notes and Nitin Sundar with no shots. Missing the easy ones and leaving them outside.
Look at Tony, intro acha nahi hai. Do better.
What's the New Zealand score again? Please update.
Rounding off the panel at 4 a.m. GMT or whatever the time is in London is Nishant Biswal. Bisi to friends and Bisi Bilebat to people who love South Indian meals and good banter. While he's not busy staying awake, watching cricket and hosting great podcasts, Bisi is a chief tinkerer at Byju's, where he teaches professional cricket to people in the US and Europe. I may have got some facts wrong there, but let that not stop you from welcoming Bisi on the pod. How are you doing, Bisi?
Wonderful, guys. So happy to be.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay,
two truths, one life for Bisi. This is
so in Bangalore, where Bisi grew up, if you order a Bisi Bale Bath, you will get an Uttappa for free because and both together cost 36 or 6 sixes as it is now.
No, but that's because the runways are longer, no? All right, let's get started right there with this week's events. I think we should start with Ian Healy's masterclass on the sweep shot, which was recorded on a carpet with a dustbin behind him for the stumps, which is said to alter the DNA of Australia's spin play in the third test. Thoughts, guys?
God.
Starting with Tony, please tell us, what did you learn from Ian Healy this week?
Dude, no, I mean, I think let's go around the table.
Sure. There was a table in that room, also because of the dustbin. Who wants to go, guys?
Hey, first of all, I want to say it was the same dustbin that Justin Langer had kicked around in the first season of the test.
Oh.
And
he's still inside it, by the way.
Probably. Yeah, okay, he has his head inside a dustbin. But yeah, I mean, I have all the respect for Ian Healy. On our WhatsApp group. There was some discussion on how he was a terrible batter, and there were a few of us who promptly came up to defend him. But I mean, it's best for former Australian cricketers who have been beaten in Australia to just stay quiet and give all the support to the Australians who are, I mean, just in a terrible, terrible shape right now. And I mean, the whole sweeping thing has overtaken their minds so much that they can't think of anything else. Either it's victory by sweeping margins for India, or it's, the batsmen getting out for absolutely terrible sweeps. Good for India because the qualification for the WTC final is becoming more and more sure by the day. But yeah, I mean, we would expect a fight in either Dharamshala or Indore or wherever the other tests are going to happen.
Oh God, we have mentioned the bogey word. Here we go.
Yeah, we have a lot of PTSD there.
So, victory by sweeping margins, going for sweep shots, and sweeping statements from ex-cricketers. All of them continuing to dog Australia. As Topperno said, we all have respect for Healy, except it is largely for Alisa Healy and not for Ian Healy. Who else, guys? What is your take on the fallout of Australia's abject surrender?
One second, on that Healy thing, right? There was PGK quoting TGC, who basically said, "You're up against two of the greatest spinners ever, and the advice is hit them over mid-off so they can bowl wide to you." So, full amateur hour everywhere.
That Healy thing, there was one good thing in that video, and I watched it a couple of times because it took me a while to figure it out. And
were you editing it on Da Vinci Resolve?
I'm not talking about the dustbin. It was actually his shoes. It took me because I had to focus on what shoes it was. I did go look it up. It's a brand called Hoka. They make really, really good shoes. So that was the best part of the video for me, because I went and I started looking for coupons to see if I can buy those shoes. They're really good walking shoes and running shoes that this brand Hoka makes.
Not good sweeping shoes.
This is
obviously.
taking
Not good sweeping shoes. Yeah.
This is putting yourself in the other person's shoes too, literally. Like, where can I buy that shoes so I can feel what Healy's feeling?
But talking about putting yourself in someone else's shoes, right? It's very weird for us to be in this situation because we have never been in a place where we have like dominated someone and the other team is getting lambasted by their own media and all that. Imagine like in the 90s, this is how it would have been for the others. Like when we would go and get bounced out everywhere, and then people would call Mohinder Amarnath and Gavaskar and all to say, hey, you guys have played against West Indies. You should teach these guys how to play against bounce. And then Gavaskar would go on to his, big monologues of how he would play against those guys without a helmet on. This is exactly that.
But with shirt tucked in. Yeah.
And how he would convert his ones into twos and all of that. Yeah.
And then he would just slip into a Jamaican accent as well. But this is exactly that. If you think about it, right? This is a full reversal where now you have Alan Border.
Oh, it is a reverse sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah, these Healy shoes helping Australia toe the line. Shoes for the heels, healing the soul of Australian cricket, something like that. But who's going to play?
Just one thing, right? On the whole sweeping thing, the best thing Hotstar has and does really well to hide is that they have replays of like all days play, right? You'll have to struggle to find it. But like one night when I was up, I was like, okay, let me go and rewatch that whole debacle because it happened too quickly, right? Like you couldn't piece it together. And especially I wanted to see like what Cummins came in with. And Hanscom, if you remember, was one of the few players who got in the slip. Okay. And he has a quick word with Cummins as they're passing each other, outside the boundary closer dressing room. And Cummins is like, yeah. I'm guessing Hanscom basically told him go for the sweep. And like you remember that he lasted one ball, which is the ugliest innings in the history of cricket. So
yeah,
I mean,
I think we should all at this moment take this opportunity to thank Ajinkya Rahane for his amazing contributions to Indian cricket. Now 2 Border Gavaskar trophies running, right? Firstly, that signed jersey that was given to Nathan Lyon after which test match? The final test was the Gabba test match. As if that was not enough, he has gone and trained Peter Hanscom on how to play spin in India. Ajinkya Rahane is training people on how to play spin in India, and that explains what Hanscom did. What he told Cummins, what Cummins did, and what the entire Australian team did. So, thank you, Jinx. You really have put the BNP Jinx on Australia.
I have one slight different offtake over here because I think we focused on the batting a lot, but just look at that playing 11 they put up for the second test on the bowling side. There was no intent of trying to get 20 wickets. It's like, oh, spin, take every spinner that I can find except Ashton Agar, who I want to send back anyways. Put him on the next flight. Everyone else who's left, please come play. Cummins, you're captain, so I can't drop you. So if I had a spinner, I would put the 4th one in also. There was no chance they were going to get anyone with that bowling.
I fully agree. I don't think I remember Australia looking so unprepared and out of it in the middle of a series. Yeah, I know the homework gate thing happened, but there you had disciplinary issues also, right? This time it's not discipline. People are getting injured. They're making selection blunders. They're not calling new people into the squad. Like half the people are injured and have gone back home. They're just saying, no, we'll continue playing with whoever we have. They're hoping
Nitin, are you saying there is such a thing as a selection blunder? Is that your assertion?
Please explain.
No, but I think to continue on Bisi's point, Greg Chappell also mentioned the same thing, right? Like it was criminal to drop Boland on that for that Kotla pitch which had variable bounce. You should have at least tried to put it to the chin or whatever, right? Like again, very captain obvious sort of advice, but the reason I would give more weight to Greg Chappell's thing is because he has coached India under similarish conditions, right? So he would know.
He did a very good job also.
He did. But I'd say still at least he was giving you a template. He said same thing. Boss, don't put every alphabetical order spinner who's even like an SLA LOI, whatever, ROI, whatever, spinner, and then just keep Cummins just for the heck of it. And at least someone should have walked up and told Cummins that, boss, you bowl more, right?
Yeah.
First innings, I think the highest wicket taker was Shami on a pitch that was spinning. So, I mean, it's
Spinning
just
Shami.
spinning Shami. Yeah, this is quintessential needle in your banana only. There is no other explanation for this as to why Australia did what they did, right? Who's flying in, by the way? I don't think there's anyone who's come in as
No,
cover
they
for.
No.
only this one fellow who went early is coming back. No, Swepson is
Swepson.
coming back.
Swepson.
Yeah, only he's coming back.
But 1 second, Chopra sir has been.
I hope somebody has
waiting patiently.
updated. I hope somebody updated Swepson. Imagine he lands up in Dharamshala. Okay, guys, let's rock.
Yeah, sweet
Stopper
song.
knows.
Add it to our
no, I was
WhatsApp
just-
group.
I just want to say actually some recency bias is kicked in because this was actually Australia's Adelaide test, right? They were significantly ahead after day 2, and like going into
yeah.
day 3
Yeah.
at 61 for 1, as predicted by only Abhishek Chopra, like who gave Australia any chance. We were making fun of him for saying, yeah, they'll play better than Nagpur. Chops.
This is where
How
you
do you
come
see
in,
the
Chops.
They did get a 1-run lead, guys. Come on.
Yeah. And-
Despite
and-
all of these things.
And at the start of day 3, we thought they were set up for a good
Yeah.
120, 150 chase at least. Because Travis Head was in. Anyways, over to Chops actually.
Yeah, 10 points and Mike.
Since he forecasted it.
No, I think, I still think that Australia did better with the bat than at Nagpur, except the second innings was, I don't know, I mean, complete brain fade, collective brain fade. 2017, it happened to one guy. 2023, it's happening to all of them put together. But yeah, I still think that at least guys like Usman Khwaja and Peter Hanscom, they've found a little bit of a groove while batting against spin, and unless Smith and Marnus really find it, I don't think Australia are going to challenge India. As far as the bowling stocks are concerned, I mean, I don't have much of a problem with the selection. They did 3 spinners, etc. And to their credit, the spinners didn't bowl too badly. I mean, to restrict India to just 260, 1 run lesser than
One
their
run
first
less,
innings. Yeah, was a good job. Second innings, obviously, with the target being what it was, they couldn't do much. But I think the problem lies in the batting, and it'll require Smith or Marnus to come good with a couple of other guys, which is, to my mind, still a possibility. It's only going to be, tall ask against the spin attack that India have. Aksar hasn't even come into his own. Like, he's not even getting to bowl properly. He's scoring runs so that he gets a chance to bowl, but even then the others are just like walking all over Australia. So yeah, it's hopefully a better performance from Australia in the coming 2 tests also.
Fourth
Bisi,
test.
you were saying something.
I was saying fourth test, Akshar Patel, Narendra Modi Stadium.
Oh,
Ask
okay.
England.
Gujarat
That
model.
one run that Tony said, right? So here's the thing. After day 1, I was driving to work. My dad calls me up and goes, "What do you think? They've done really well. They've batted really well. What do you think?" I said, "Yeah, no, it's fine, but we'll get like 350-ish, and
350.
we'll get 350-ish, and then
I said
they'll probably
420.
they'll probably make like 200 or something. We'll still win it in 3 days." And I was like, "No, we're not going to get lead. Hey, Appa, you are all old generation. I play the game. I have a game this weekend also. I'm still in the game. You don't know." And all that I say, over. Now, next day morning, I wake up. There are like 8 or 11 missed calls from my dad. So I'm like, okay, what happened? And like, because nowadays, whenever I get calls, I get worried. Then I said, no, let me check the score first. Check the score. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. I'm not picking my phone. So I'm driving to work. My dad is calling me. I'm not picking up my phone. I reach work. They're like, by now, like 15 or 18 missed calls have come from my dad. I have not picked up a single phone. Then he sends me a Seva GIF. And with it below, it says, Baap hota hai.
Amazing.
Like, bloody
Good
one
one,
run,
good
man. One run. Like, they will not get lead. No chance.
When
If
is
I
he
were
coming
you-
on the pod?
Yeah, that can be a thing, right? Tony's dad and
Yeah.
Max's
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
Correct.
Absolutely. That'll be
And
great
that
fun.
episode we have to put. Anyway, we have crossed 60 now.
Intro
That special.
sorted. Yeah. No, Max, if I were you, I would have the 18th missed call, I would have taken the phone and without letting my dad speak, I would have said, and that celebrity cricket league, you saw that match? Oh, see that like 4 6s back to back. That's what I fully sidetracked the discussion. Yeah.
That is why now I have left the New Zealand series. I have left everything. I'm just watching Celebrity Cricket League. Vikrant is the best opener for Chennai Rhinos. And then Akil Akinini. What a batsman. 3 back-to-back 50s.
Hey, Australians are also doing the same thing. Watching Celebrity Cricket League.
Chennai Rhinos, that name itself needs a separate podcast probably. But
Nitin,
so Stark and Green are going to play, is it, in the third test? Yes. I think Green has declared he's 100% fit. If they still don't pick him next test, I'm now 120% fit. Please pick me now at least. Even Travis had said, I had robust conversation with selectors after the first test. Like, these players who want to play are like saying, sir, stop picking 4 spinners. I'm there. You can pick me instead.
Very, very product-led growth, no? Robust conversation, 120% fit and all of that. I mean,
Yeah.
full product manager level conversation.
You can take
they may still have
minimum
3
viable
spinners.
product.
They may still play 3 spinners because Green will replace Renshaw, Stark will replace Cummins, which still leaves 3 spinners for them.
Yeah.
The only person other than Renshaw's dad who still remembers is in the squad. Is he still in India? Like, what is he doing? What is Matt Renshaw's role now?
Renshaw
Is he like
dad.
holding up the bin?
He's waiting for someone else to get a concussion.
यार वो पाप होता है. Renshaw's dad, बाप. Okay, sorry.
So who all have gone home? Warner has gone home.
Warner's gone.
Warner, Cummins
has to go.
Ashton, Agar.
Ashton Agar didn't have to. He was sent.
Ashton Agar is his own segment, guys. Come on, you can't limit Ashton Agar to one line.
Let's talk about Ashton Agar, who, for very curious reasons, has been sent back home after being picked to ostensibly play cricket on this tour. Every other spinner has got a go. What is happening with Ashton Agar, guys?
I think the last test that happened, what was it, against South Africa? Yeah, against South Africa, where we had discussed on this podcast how the 7 Cricket channel in Australia had this graphic where they had put like a whole big pizza on the pitch to show where the rough was and how Ashton Agar kept missing it.
Yeah. But Lion was also missing it, right?
Lion was also missing. Lion is
yeah,
useless.
I remember this.
But I mean, you wondered, how he was even playing a test, and something has just gotten into the minds of the Australian selectors. I don't know, where they don't even consider how much a bowler is bowling in first class cricket, and they just pick them for tours like India and Pakistan and Sri Lanka, etc. And also I think they must have been really scared of Jadeja and Aksar, so slow left arm orthodox is the way to go according to them. And they picked Agar, who was, I mean, nowhere close to test match bowling form, which is what apparently happened in the nets. He was found to be completely missing his lengths. I think he was also bowling no balls, if I'm not wrong, in some article in Cricinfo that was mentioned, in the nets. And so, Todd Murphy first jumped him in the playing 11, and then Koeneman came in, who was another slow left-arm spinner who actually bowled well in Delhi. He got his place in the 11, and then, I mean, Agar, they've again sent him back to play Sheffield Shield and some one-day matches. I don't think Ashton Agar is any longer a test match prospect. I'd be glad to be proven wrong for his own sake. But, I mean, he's played far too little red ball cricket in domestic or international level to be considered for any sort of test match. And I mean, it's terrible on the part of the selectors to bring someone after he has played 3 red ball matches, 3 tests in 3 years, as he said. And I mean, bring him to India and leave him hanging dry and very sorry state of affairs. The interview that he gave at the airport, I think in Perth or something, to some Australian news channel, he did maintain his calm, gave a very nice, mature interview. But I mean, even in that interview, you could see that he was very, very disappointed at how he was treated. And he's been doing quite well in white ball cricket. If I'm not wrong, he was the highest wicket taker for them in one of their recent T20 World Cups, perhaps the one that happened in Dubai. So, yeah, I mean, Yeah.
There
too
are
many
only
of
3
them.
T20 World Cups in a year now. So he chose this.
So yeah, I mean, I think he deserves better from the selectors. And
No, but what was the news from the Nets, right? Like Australia was saying that Ashton Agar like opted out of playing in the 11. There was like weird shit going on.
I don't know whether he opted out or whether, he saw the writing on the wall after Todd Murphy and Matt Kuhneman got their chances. But essentially, the Cricinfo piece mentions that he was missing his lengths by a big margin, and he was missing them after bowling, quite a few no balls, which is rare for a left arm spinner, except Jadeja, of course, who did that.
Our man of the
recently.
match keeps doing that frequently.
So basically, he was bowling terribly in the nets, is what the word from the Australian camp was, and then he was promptly sent back. I don't know what joy it will give to play one more Sheffield Shield match or a couple of more one-day matches. He could have been, kept with the touring squad at least to avoid the ignominy at the airport, but just sad for Ashton Agar.
How old is he? How old is he?
I don't know. That must be early 30s, I'm guessing.
Oh,
we can check.
Okay.
Let's check.
Maybe the door is Agar for him to make a comeback.
29. He's only 29.
Yeah.
This entire Australian spinner saga, right, from the last 4 months has been very weird if you think about it. So Lyon was always your number one. And in Pakistan, Swepson was the designated number 2, right? He was bowling really well. Then they saw, okay, this kid Murphy has been doing well, and he was supposed to be the number 3. Right? That is how it was
the pecking order.
Right after the South Africa series, that's how it was. And then, just like how the whole Ganguly and Saha friendship thing has happened, someone has gone and told Zampa that, boss, you start bowling, you will come into the team. You will become right? So a guy has given statements saying, I'm going to start bowling red ball. He actually even played one Sheffield Shield game. I think he only took 1 wicket, and he was at 4.5 an over or something like that. And therefore they said, okay, boss, we're not taking you. We have a fetish for left arm spinners, and it works in India since Michael Clark. So we are going to take Ashton Agar, which is a surprise now for 2 people, Zampa and Agar. But Agar is okay, journeyman. I'm on for the 2.
Literally journeyman.
Zampa is heartbroken. He gives a statement saying, I was not expecting this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Story is done there. So at this point, what has become? It is, you have still, Swepson is still tech on paper number 2. And you have Agar as number 3. And this new kid who knows going to expect to have a game, which is weird now. We have had Rehan, we have Abrar, and we have had Murphy. All guys who have made debuts without playing any first-class
game.
And most of them wearing glasses. If you have glasses, then you don't need first class.
Exactly. So there is some weird Harry Potter syndrome going on here. But so then that happens, and
Harry Potter
jumps up. Swepson is now heartbroken because Murphy has jumped up the pecking order. So he plays. Swepson's like, screw this. I better go with my BC and see my kid. So he chucks off. Now Agar's like, okay, ab apna time aayega. That doesn't happen.
Go play gully cricket, boy.
Another guy. We're going to play another guy in and make him play. And but anyway, jokes aside, right? This is the part of it which is the mental side of it, and especially the pressures of playing at the highest level, which we just cannot simply fathom, because you have to perform every single day at that level of intensity. So it's not easy for them. And when the news came out about himself selecting himself out, some people started using the word he chickened out and stuff like that, which is just nasty.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's good that he made the choice that I am not mentally there to play the Delhi Test versus playing and then getting Wagnered out of the attack. So
Wagnered out of
the
Nice.
Beautiful.
Love you.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I just think that the whole chickened out and those things are really mean.
Ugly.
You have to perform
Yeah,
at
no,
the
I
highest
mean,
level.
as a bowler, it's even tougher, right? Like Matt Renshaw has to put potty face only for 2 balls before he's dismissed. But imagine being a bowler who is all out of sorts and having to do it over and over again. At least 6 overs you've got to bowl. Like,
and that too, if you bowl no balls, then more balls also.
Yeah. If you remember South Africa's last tour here, and they had some
Senur and
random
Muthuswamy.
spinners. Yeah,
General
and
Muthusamin.
Dane Pete, if you remember, like at
Yeah,
that
yeah.
point, the South African
He
captain
became
was
a
like,
callback or gave up or
he
did
gave
something
up. He
drastic, no?
went
Yeah,
off to US. He's playing with Max now. It's like
he started playing
full-
rugby or something. Yeah, he's fully given up.
Yeah, but yeah, like imagine Australia
Yeah.
basically has 8 spinners vying for one spot in a tour that happens once every 5 years. That's basically it, right? Like you're practically not going to play in Pakistan with the kind of pitches they have. Unless they play in Sri Lanka or something, but like 8-9 spinners, dude. I didn't
No,
know
so that's
Australia
where
used to
the Sri Lanka tour is where the fetish for Australia started with left arm, slow left arm spinners, orthodox spinners, because they took Swepson there who bowled decently well,
Yeah.
but I think the new left armour that Sri Lanka have, they have so many of them.
But Prabhat Jayasuriya.
That fellow picked up some 12 wickets. Prabhat
Jayasuriya.
Jayasuriya, if I'm not wrong. And that's where, according to I mean, the inside sources in Australian cricket, they figured out that if we are going to tour anywhere in the subcontinent, left arm slow is the way to go. And that's how, Agar was selected in the first place. And then Kuhneman was selected. And then, all the pecking order, coming down and collapse happened, like it happened with the batting order, as Max mentioned.
Can we take a break
6 for
from
19,
the...
man? This is not now. This is 6 for 19 with Clark. That is when this love affair has started.
But
And
can we
then
just
they had
take a...
Stephen O'Keefe. Stephen O'Keefe
Yeah.
also they brought because
True,
of that.
Stephen O'Keefe,
And yeah.
Can we take a break from the serious cricket discussion for 30 seconds to
What is-
appreciate the podcasting genius that is Abhishek Chopra, right? Like the older tradition was to sort of name drop to say like you're someone important. Chops is like without name dropping. According to my inside sources,
No, I
in
didn't say
Australian
inside.
cricket team.
Inside
I am
sources.
referencing. I am
You're-
referencing.
Beautiful,
You're
only
not
once.
worth it for me to tell you who I know in the Australian cricket team, but I know
I am
people.
only referencing one cricket info article, which is, I think, Alex Malcolm is the name of
Dude,
the
I'm just
guy.
appreciating your turn of phrase. That's okay.
Yeah.
Chops.
He's
played,
right only.
well
No, we guys don't read the cricket info articles. He reads them. It's his inside source.
Chopper Nose is basically Chat GPT-3 for all of us when it comes to cricket. I think we should add Max to that list though. Max is watching everything and Chopper Nose is reading everything. Between the two of them, we have everything covered as far as cricket is concerned to roll up and do this podcast with absolutely zero knowledge. But we've spoken a lot about Australia, as we should. But just for a moment, let's talk about India also. So Ravindra Jadeja now 2 Man of the Match awards. What is the collective term for 2 Man of the Match awards? Is it Men of the Match, Man of the Matches? What will you guys go with?
Bits and
Man of
pieces.
the series.
Man of the half series.
Man of the half series.
Yeah. But how good has Jadeja been, man? Like, what the hell? Worst spell, 7 wickets bowling, absolute random crap.
Well, Nitin Sundar, another podcasting genius, throwing out Jadeja so that someone else will bring up Ravichandran Ashwin. And how he was the actual-
Yeah. This
Oh
is
my God.
full Ashwin bait.
This is Inception
Ashton.
level things happening here.
Yeah.
This
Same
part of the
Ashwin level
podcast
thing
is
to do.
brought to you by the Ken. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jadeja was bowling crap though, right, to begin with.
Yeah, it is
Basically-
probably his
Rubbish.
10th best spell or 20th best spell in his life. Career best figures, no?
I think
Yeah,
Was it?
correct.
Oh.
Third or second or third. No, I think he
Oh.
has an 8.
No, I think this is his best.
I
Previous
think it is
was
his
an-
best.
Yeah,
Not
7
a
for in
yeah.
England or something. Some weird graphic error. I
Yeah.
think. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think it was entirely crap. He was just bowling how he would bowl in probably like a Saurashtra Ranji game. Just bowl straight ones. That's all. That's how
True.
MP collapsed in. That's how MP collapsed in the Ranji game, right? Like, and it was straighter ones. I mean, had Jadeja been there, I mean, that's
The
how
other Jadeja was there.
Dharmendra Singh was playing. That was the other Jadeja who bowled. This Jadeja would have bowled similarly, but I don't know, man. I mean. One thing is for sure, I think all of this said and done, it was very heartening to see Ashwin then go put out all the YouTube video and put on paddle and say, I will now participate in TNPL auctions. Assignment 360. Forget 700.
Also,
Forget whatever.
இங்கிலாந்துல புதுசா பேஸ்பால் என்னமோ ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க.
Another hilarious anecdote. Okay, so they brought up that whole
Hey, but
list of-
is the anecdote interesting or not? That's the important one.
Okay, the double take. Interesting
quick,
anecdote.
one second. So quickly to contextualize for our listeners who might not be keeping track of cricket, after the test match, Ashwin was seen at the TNPL auction for his team Dindigul Dragons, where he was participating in the team selection, and as always went and put out content as well on YouTube talking about Women's World Cup, about BGT, about Dindigul Dragons, and about Bazball. So yeah, Ashwin is all in all cricket Raja. Yes, go on, Samir.
You should get him on the pod.
Yeah.
He basically combines tops and max. He's reading everything, watching everything, and playing also. So
He's Chat GPT Pro Max. Yeah, but interesting anecdote is I think day 2, second session, they put out that graphic of highest wicket takers for India in tests. The whole Anil Kumble, Kapil Dev, and all of that, and how Ashwin is now like number 2 or something on that list, right? Like right behind Kumble.
Number 2.
Ashwin is number 2. He surpassed 434, right? Like off Kapil Dev for mine.
There's no one between Kapil
and Ashwin.
Is it?
Ashwin.
No, just Ashwin. Which was supposed to be the highlight of that whole table. Instead, the whole discussion surpassed around how Jadeja had leapfrogged Mankad and a couple of them and Chandrasekhar, and how he's now at 267 wickets. And guess who made this whole discussion about Jadeja? Any guesses?
Manjrekar.
Full took that discussion saying Jadeja's overcompensation. He's like, if you noticed, I think the highlight of the 2 man of the match awards is whenever he is winning, it's always Manju there. So he's like he's full going on bromance. I will not be surprised if there's like a Dharma movie. I mean, this is the whole track wherein they suddenly have a bromance and then they discover that okay, हमारा कुछ हो सकता है, हम दोस्त नहीं है, or something like that. I mean,
playing with each other's swords, is it?
There is this proverb in Tamil called Pattakalile Padum, which means the foot that gets hurt will keep getting hurt again and again. Unfortunately, Manjrekar, every time he shows up for the presentation, Jadeja is part of the match. What to do? I would say he's handling it as well as he probably can. What else do you say?
Can I just say I actually like Manjrekar, except in the presentation, he doesn't pull like he's like outspoken.
He's okay. He's like a Diet Pepsi of commentators.
He'll dish it out and he's okay to take it.
KFC of commentators, very consistent. Not necessarily great, but yeah, now and then you can
finger looking good, like that.
Pie chucking has new meaning now.
No, so what else? We absolutely have to talk about KL Rahul and about the famous meme of someone sitting in a burning house with all the fire is burning around them and they're sitting and smiling. We have a sticker of that version of that meme in our WhatsApp group with KL Rahul's face on it. Literally, the world is burning around and about KL Rahul with Akash Chopra and Venkatesh Prasad going after each other. Everybody going after everybody else. Full Tallumala climax is happening there around KL Rahul's presence in the Indian team. Thoughts, guys? Will he play? Should he play?
Just one thing. Given that how I ended up watching a lot of Vijay movies over this last 2 days, KL Rahul is saying, "Patravaitha nerippondru unne patri eriyadu nee vidaitha vidayellam unnaye alikka kaathirukkirathu 215 over." That is where the debate will end if he plays. Honestly,
250
in the BGT final. Yeah, if he gets to play in that game, despite all of this, he'll come out like Vijay and he'll repeat that dialogue. Honestly, calling it now. I hope it's not a BNP jinx. Okay.
It is being recorded. It will be replayed after BGT final. Don't worry. Yeah. So guys, is Shubman Gill going to play ahead of Rahul in the third test?
I have. Sorry, I'll go first. I have just one thing to say on KL Rahul thing. He'll get the long. He's in. He's penciled in. He's going to open for whatever reason. He's obviously not doing well. There's no question about that. I mean, he's luggage right now within the entire team. But as far as selection goes, I think these guys have sort of set their formula. And no reason to suspect that he can't do well if we make it to the finals of the WTC. So these other 2 tests, I don't think are going to be consequential in terms of selection. His selection first.
But
Whether he
the
does
fact
wonder.
that good point. But the fact that he's been demoted from vice captaincy, I think is a sign of things to
No,
come.
it's not been demoted. There is no vice captain. Just abolish the position.
Jaysha is
Layoff.
vice captain.
Yeah.
Can we say that here?
No, he's the captain. Anyway,
Half the time I'm wondering whether Max has gone off or is he like
No.
yeah, he's a very
He's
statuesque
very,
presence.
yeah, he's like this.
He's literally a Da Vinci statue, man.
No, but there is this thing about home series and not needing vice captains at all.
Yeah.
Right? So
wait, what? Explain.
No,
Yeah.
this is true. For many
Exactly.
years, no, even from the years of Azharuddin and Tendulkar as captain, India did not actually appoint vice captains for home series for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
This I'm talking about.
But
Jaiwant
what's the reasoning?
Not required. Only abroad, if the captain gets injured, you need a vice captain to come and step in. But if you're playing at home, I don't know. They don't need.
which is why they had this thing in Pakistan, right? That game where Rizwan didn't play. Babar got off field and Sarfaraz just took over. And umpire said, "Shut up. It is not your job."
मैं DRS देता हूँ, मैं DRS देता हूँ.
But the Rahul thing, right? And that's also another opposite to the whole Agar story is it's very, it's fodder, it's good fun for us and all that, but it's really hard for a player to be there. And irrespective of what people say, there is a lot of luck involved in cricket. And there is a lot of luck involved. I mean, anyone, and I get a lot of trouble when I say this. They're like, "Oh, how can you say Sachin was lucky? How can you say Virat Kohli? Okay, there's just greatness, man. It's not luck." I was like, "No, bro, it is luck." There is a lot of luck involved. Just that the bowler also needs to have a bad day if you have to go score a daddy 100 and things like that. And there is one thing as confidence and things like that, but there is also luck. And unfortunately for him, both are like and that is his problem, because okay, he's having bad scores, since Bangladesh, like okay, fine, it's country. But that last dismissal, now he's like, boss, something has to give, right? And that is when I think as a player itself, just like how Agar apparently has self-selected himself out, I think Rahul will have to do it, or there will be a morning groin issue that will come up just like 10 minutes before the toss.
Morning groin issue sounds very shady, but yeah, it could come.
Yeah, side strain or
morning groin famously captained England to the 2019
and recently retired also. We commemorate his great career over here.
Oh, the headline writes itself. Aging Owen Morgan retires after morning
groin injury.
After groaning with morning groin injuries. Oh, this headline
I'm just laughing at the delicious irony that we are discussing morning groin on episode 60. So just putting it out there.
What is with number 60?
Morning groin episode 60. We are officially old, ma.
Oh,
everyone's official old. Yeah,
not enough stretching as
yeah.
Not enough.
Heckin' big stretch.
Okay, all right.
But wait, about KL Rahul, right? I mean, I think there's this one very famous panelist who basically catfished everyone by putting Kohli scores up front and writing about Rahul.
Catfish. That's the right one.
Catfish.
No, but
who the fucker? Yeah.
There was a very nice sort of interview of Virat Kohli's with Danish Seth, right? And the comparison is very valid in terms of scores, but not beyond, right? And I think KL Rahul's biggest problem is he's been the very first punching bag on bits and pieces for over a year, right? Is that he is completely projecting a picture of non-confidence, right? So there's this whole game theory thing about what football goalkeeper should do if you are to save penalties, right? And which is to say that most strikers strike left or right, and you have a better chance if you just stand in the middle so that the ones that come in the middle you can save. But you look like a complete idiot because you're basically choosing inaction over action, right? So goalkeepers have to dive like right or left, right? And KL Rahul's problem is something similar. He's just standing right in the middle, looking like an idiot. And I think that is the biggest problem, right? And let's not forget that he went to England and South Africa and played some amazing opening innings, right? The Pleve was, very famously sort of essayed beautifully by KL Rahul. And the 2-1 series that we won in England had much to do with him, right? So I think it is more than just a string of scores. It is that when people see him playing, you're like, this guy is completely out of it. Like, he needs to either project some confidence or be confident in himself. And the reason I brought up that Kohli interview was that you can see how sorted the guy is, right? In his head. He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, he'll still have that look of absolute stupendous, how
Awesomeness.
can this debut and get me out when that happens. And you're like, hey, poda, just leave it and go. No, don't think about review and all. But at the same time, he's very sorted in his head, right? He's stepping out every day, assuming that he can, score runs and do well for the team. With KL, I think it's more a mindset and projection issue. I still think he should be given the, till the end of this series at least to go one way or the other. But I think I don't know, dude. Like, there should be some mental conditioning coach or something that's happening, right? You would assume that they had media training before they went on to Coffee with Karan, but you know how that turned out. But getting lumped with Hardik Pandya and then being the complete opposite picture of confidence is what I think is healing Rahul more than the runs itself.
Let me 1 sec, Vasi. We have to take a moment again to appreciate the podcasting genius that is Tony Sebastian, who started off randomly going after catfishing and all, and then made this seem like a beautiful sort of, in the corner of KL Rahul, brought football analogies, all of that. We were all blown away. I even shed a tear and everything. All of this finally to tell us how awesome Virat Kohli is. How can we do this? Huh? Frozen horse, Tony's frozen horse. Well,
I couldn't throw in a punch against New Zealand in that. Next time I attempt to do that.
A real nice guy reference would have.
Yeah, I think with all the mental conditioning and everything aside, is genuinely asking, is there a way we could end up wearing, or at least let KL Rahul end up wearing an orange cap for the next test? I mean, what is going to do the world of confidence now? Probably, or just wear like an LSG shirt inside. Yeah, like
double scales.
Double scales.
Oh, poor guy, man. Like, he's so like Gautam Gambhir is against KL Rahul. Right?
Yeah,
imagine the kind of shit he has to go through. There is no one in his corner, dude. Like, he's like, okay,
Absolutely.
after this, I'll go to IPL and make big runs. Gautam Gambhir is sitting there in
except
one
another
corner.
Chopra.
Please fuck off.
Sunil Shetty is in his corner. No. That's official.
But imagine, that's the thing, right? You have to
Sunil
use
Shetty
your
border risky. He goes past the border, he doesn't come back. So
yeah.
Max was saying.
Ma Shakti.
No, sorry. Yeah, Max, you were saying.
Max.
I was saying, imagine just having to read social media and all of that Kohli and all these others get. This guy has to hear it from his father-in-law also, in addition to all of that. So it's it's one level higher. And it is very well known that Sunil Shetty is a huge cricket fan, and he himself has said that they talk about cricket, and he talks about how he got out in that game and all of that. So imagine that was when they were
In CCL.
Yeah.
How Sunil Shetty got out in CCL? Sorry.
Yeah. Everybody reads it on social media, but he has to listen to it from his father-in-law. But enough about Gurunath Meyyappan. Let's come back to cricket.
It's IPL season already. Nice.
When I see KL Rahul, I mean, you guys have done a lot of psychoanalysis over here. I don't know enough to get into all of that. But he reminds me of Ajit Agarkar. Agarkar had the same problem, right? He was good, but he was the laughing stock and the punching bag throughout his career. For whatever reasons. Even now, Agarkar, if you look at top ODI wicket takers in India, he has an incredible strike rate, bad economy rate. I mean, okay economy rate, I guess. Bad, actually. And a decent average and a lot of wickets. But he was perennially the joke, right? And then he got all those ducks in Australia and all. Same thing's happening with KL Rahul. Like, very, very capable player. When he's on fire, he's on real fire. Lots of big highs, but some incredible lows. And doesn't project any confidence.
No, I think with the KL Rahul thing, I will perhaps be in like a minority of one here, but I do think he's batting well. The runs are not coming for him, and the two dismissals that happened, as Max described them, were probably down to bad luck. I mean, if you get caught down the leg side, you can't like really put it down to bad luck, but it's not the most technically faulty dismissal, so to speak. And there's this 1-6 of Todd Murphy that he hit in the first innings, which was a very, very good shot. He came down the track at the last moment and then lofted him over whatever mid wicket long on. So yeah, I mean, it's just something where he's not the kind of guy who's giving interviews or cheering his teammates' wickets loudly. Doesn't have a very outwardly cheerful presence, even before all of this unraveled. And so it almost seems like he perhaps doesn't care enough almost. So I'm not sure whether all of that is going to help him at all. I hope he's not reading social media or newspapers or any of that shit. I just hope he's able to find some runs anyhow, somehow, and perhaps some of the luck comes back, a catch is dropped and edge doesn't go to hand, and all of that happens, and he's able to score some runs, because I continue to believe he's a quality batsman. I think he's at least hitting the ball well. But yeah, I mean, just needs to find a way to score some runs, and things will be better in one innings as they happen in India.
Yeah.
So
No, I think
I don't
the
care
actual
about
discussion is around the length of the rope, right? I don't think anyone's questioning Kane
Yeah.
Rahul's talent. Like,
No, but
given
I was
the
saying, I
rich
don't care about the
resources that
BGT or any of these things, because as far as KL is concerned, doesn't matter. We're going to win. We're going to win this. We'll go to the final. We'll give Cummins a mace. All that is fine. That is all decided.
will beat Sri Lanka. They're going to New Zealand after this. Just need to win 2-0.
Okay. We are coming to that segment of the podcast, Tony. where you- Actually, why don't we go there? Tony, please tell us.
Max, finish your
Oh,
point.
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Max,
No,
yeah,
no, but
sorry.
what I was trying to say is, it's important to have Rahul in a good headspace, because because he's more important for the end of the year. Right? There's three people I would think will decide. Their form is going to decide what happens at the end of the year.
Jay Shah,
Rahul, Bumrah,
Saurav Ganguly,
and Hardik.
Roger Binny, Saurav Ganguly.
Sorry, you were going for whom? Bumrah,
Bumrah, Hardik, and Rahul. I have a feeling that these three, the form of these three, will decide. If there is going to be a silverware at all in the last so many years or not.
Hardik
and
is
that
playing
is why
test,
I need him to be in a good headspace.
Hey,
no, he means ODI World Cup.
ODI World Cup.
Tony has been making love to that WTC table for so many months now. He's forgotten there are two other formats in cricket.
No, like Hardik playing in England won't be the worst idea though.
No,
but
he's
not fit enough. No,
he has self-agarred himself out of test match. What are you talking?
He's very clear on that.
Not very clear and all that. He's just being like coy.
Hardik is not going to play any test cricket. He's 100% not going to show up for the WTC
4
final.
overs, just enough. That's all.
Yeah, just to put needle in banana. Does Ashwin play the WTC final? Hit over.
But I actually probably not. By the
Yeah,
way. Unfortunately.
So you need Hardik Pandya, or it's Bedex time. It's Bedex.
Oh yes.
One
Can't wait
spinner,
for
3
that.
fast bowlers. Yeah, it's happening. Okay, so Tony, tell us about the WTC final. It's happening at the Oval in the backyard of where Bisi is staying, and I believe some of you are harboring intentions of going there. I take it from me that test match already is going to get moved to Dharamshala. Or Ahmedabad, more likely.
No, but imagine it's like Sri Lanka is in with a realistic chance, apparently, which is basically
Sri Lanka need to beat New Zealand in New Zealand. 2-0.
First of all, we need to beat Australia 4-0. Otherwise, we'll be out.
No, what are you saying? 3-1 was good enough. No,
3-1 was good enough, actually. Okay, then 3-1. But then Australia need only one match. Okay, basically, if we beat Australia 4-0 and then Sri Lanka beat New Zealand 2-0.
Sri Lanka need India to win 4-0.
Correct. Yeah.
Got it.
And then
which is eminently possible, but beating New Zealand 2-0 is like
happening.
Even more possible.
Yeah. Bazball scars are there. Happening.
Did Sri Lanka beat South Africa 2-0?
They did.
Long ago.
Yes.
Actually, Sri Lanka did win a game in New Zealand.
Everybody has won in New Zealand except for one
Except
team.
us. Yeah.
Yes. Everybody has won in New Zealand. Pakistan used to go there and hammer them for like fun. Okay, like literally used to like a ragdoll. Mohammad Sami and all used to take like 7 fours in New Zealand. Let's not go there.
Are you
But
saying
the
New Zealand is shit? Is that what you're saying?
Strawman
Except when it comes
argument.
to, except in WTC finals in the first edition. But yeah. No,
the
so
same
so
thing
that's
is
what it takes
happening,
for Sri Lanka. Okay.
No, the same thing is happening in New Zealand as well, right? Here, you're saying, okay, these are spin pitches and Shami takes 4 wickets. There, you can't even tell where the pitch ends and where the ground starts. You just see, okay, there's a green patch and there's 6 stumps in there. But then Jack Leach is coming and taking wickets for you.
And not only can you not tell where the pitch ends and where the ground starts, you can't tell where the ground ends and where international waters start.
Exactly.
Obviously.
I missed the AB1's joke. Why don't you repeat it clearly, Tony, for everyone? AB1's joke. If you
I
remember.
forgot the actual phrasing. It's like
New Zealand ground, 30-yard circle is where international waters begin because that's how small the grounds
this
are.
pitch,
Yeah.
there's 30 yards, then there is international waters, basically, something like that.
Correct.
Seddon Park, no?
All said and done. We spoke about Harry Potter broom something. We should talk about Harry Brook also. What is this incredible baseballing that's going on?
Yeah.
Tony is
hurts
sad
my
about
head,
baseball. Tony hates baseball because it is Baz and there is New Zealand connection there. But he also loves baseball because it is screwing New Zealand. So Tony,
As
tell
much
us.
as I am glad that I'm vindicated how New Zealand was just extremely lucky for a small period of time, I don't want to see it happening under this baseball nonsense. It's just that like teams have not found an idea of what to do against it. And to be honest, it's not all been the same baseball. Right? Like India losing in England, we dominated for 3 innings, right? And like we thought we had enough on the board. What is it, 378 or some shit?
370,
like
yeah.
Yeah. But that's the whole point of baseball, no?
Which is what?
You
lie in wait and concede a first.
No, not really.
Slightly
Not really.
come out and
the traditional view of Test cricket is you play hard games, hard sessions, through the course of 5 days, and you do that consistently. You win more Test matches. Baseball is saying 1 or 2 sessions of absolute chaos can completely turn Test matches on their head, which is what Virender Sehwag used to do. Right?
Rishabh Pant used to do. He went and won in Australia, and then like promptly England went and lost 4-0 in Australia. But anyway, I mean, I'm just saying that. Are you saying that this will work in India? I don't think so.
No, I don't think. See, the only point about baseball is you'll have to wait for it to come up against real high quality bowling attacks to see whether it's going to work or not. South Africa won 1 test against England in England under the baseball era. They have been stretched by India in the one-off test. And the Ashes is going to come in where you'll have Boland and Stark and Pat Cummins and Lars Morris and I don't know
Hazelwood.
Hazelwood.
Todd Murphy.
Todd Murphy. You'll have all of these guys who will really stretch, baseball. I mean, right now you don't really. I mean, New Zealand Test matches you don't really get to watch. They happen in the middle of the night or something. But even if you look at the highlights, you clearly see that New Zealand are like understaffed by a huge margin. They don't have Bolt. Saudis, the lone man fighting a battle. Wagner's lengths are all over the place, and then Tickner, and then that other fellow Scott Kuggelein comes in. So I mean, baseball is going to see its downfall against only very, very high quality bowling attacks in conditions which are suitable for those high quality bowling attacks. It could be the spin conditions in India. It could be seaming conditions in England over a 5 test match period. But otherwise, I mean, the kind of bowling that we have in the rest of the countries right now, they're just going to run.
There are only 3 elite test
teams
until baseball wins against India and Australia. I'm not going to
true.
I have a point. I was reading something Jared Kimber wrote about strike points of all these baseballers like Harry Brook and Joe Root and all of this. The other inference that I got was this was fundamentally against kiddie bowlers. Look at, say, a Blair Tickner. And keep a Southie out of the equation. Look at the other bowlers who are there in that test. There's Blair Tickner, there is Matt Hendry, the Scott Kuggelein, right? Like fundamentally skiddy bowlers, right? Like similar to what happened in that South Africa series, like Shardul Thakur, Umesh and all of this. genuine pace and bounce, you cannot step out, have a higher impact point, right?
Oh, like
Genuine-
Neil Wagner. Huh?
Forget Wagner. He's been wagged around the
You
whole
said
park.
they have 3 fast bowlers. You said leave out Saudi, leave out Wagner. Then you have what?
No, I didn't say. I didn't
Black.
say. Hey, I didn't say leave out Wagner. I said just keep Southey out of the equation. See, everyone is fundamentally skiddy in nature. Genuine pace and bounce, they're not going to have a chance. Stark, say a Bumrah, or even
We are
like
basically saying in hope,
Rabada.
right? Yeah.
Not
No,
really, right?
even-
Look at the strike points of these bowlers against these, the Tickners and the Matt Henrys of the world, right? Like Harry Brook and Joe Root, right? The whole essence of that article was Bazball is also about batsmen stepping out and then playing, which is eerily reminiscent of how Brendan McCullum used to play. Throw bowler out of their length and do that. Can you genuinely do that against pace and bounce? And number 2 is in turning tracks, you do that and you have a higher risk of the wicket. This is that same analogy of
No, this is a very fair argument, right? I won't deny. I'll leave aside the pace point of it, which I think is fair, and we should see how they go in the next Ashes. I'll definitely watch that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. But as a thought experiment, I don't know when England are next touring India. But if you look at the Indian team, the way I don't even know when. Oh, to 2024 February. Okay, that's still not very far away. So
Yes,
hopefully,
sir. Really?
Yeah, there's February,
Are
March,
they
April.
playing in
below TV
Dharamshala?
has announced.
Are they playing at Dharamshala though?
Dharamshala.
They.
No,
It
so,
was on the
see,
WTC. On the WTC
Excellent.
schedule.
Yeah, it's on
2024.
WTC. Yeah.
I thought WTC is done. No, Super League is done. Okay, sorry.
Max,
Okay.
your voice is coming a bit low suddenly. Just
Ah,
say something.
Hello.
Say. Hi.
Mic test. Yes.
it's okay.
No.
Your mic didn't change or something, no?
No.
I just think he was a little laid back, like the Australian team. But yeah, see, if you look at the current Indian team, the way it is set up right now, our top order doesn't score runs, right? Our runs are all coming from the lower middle order. England's bowlers are
Lower
very good.
middle order.
Lower middle order. We have the best
Basically,
lower middle order in the
Ashwin,
world.
Aksar,
Yeah, we have 3
Jadeja.
people who do batting and bowling for us. That's all. Unfortunately, Pant is not there. Otherwise, 4 people who are doing everything, basically. Now, and England's bowling, say what you want, but Anderson has been like good in pretty much every condition. He's done well in India also in the past. Their bowling attack is very capable of cutting through the Indian top order, putting them in trouble.
But having
India
said
will
that,
score-
he'll have to retire in another 8 years. No, it's not like he can.
He's the number 1 test bowler at the age of 40. Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, let's not go there. But
Federer has also retired. Dhoni has also retired. One fellow who is
Tendulkar also retired. But yeah.
Murli Vijay also retired.
So that is there, right? So see, India's batting will do exactly the way they are doing right now. Now, if you look at India's bowling versus England's batting, right? If you see the way Australia played, or the way New Zealand played when they came, or South Africa played in their last tour, even England played the last time they came. If you apply yourself really hard, you probably survive 20 balls as a batsman on Indian pitches. The difference with Bazball is in those 20 balls, you will score 35 runs or 30 runs, as opposed to scoring 5 runs. Now, assume England continues to play Bazball the way they do, assume it is Harakiri slogathon, right? There is no reason to believe they will survive fewer balls because they're going after the bowling, but they will definitely score more runs. Everybody is going to play like Travis Head and be a little more educated about the way they slog. They will get 300 runs on the board. I'm just saying it could be fun, and I would look forward to seeing that.
Of course, it could
series.
be fun, right? But it is a thought experiment at this point.
It is. I think,
I mean, this is the
I'm just
same
saying it's not
team.
the write-off that we're all saying. I agree. Okay,
No, that's
Derek
fine.
Timber's
I'm
strike
saying it's
point argument is
practically
all
the
fine.
same team that went to Australia and lost 4-0 and Joe Root had no words, right? Like Bazball at this point.
No, but that
is
same
practically
team came to India also, and they got hammered in India. They've just
I
changed
know.
their
They won
approach
one
to
test.
batting.
That's what I'm saying.
They won
so
one test.
It's if it's about mental thing, right? It's at this
It's an
stage,
approach.
Bazball
It's
is
not mental.
practically.
It's an approach. It's saying we are
Correct.
willing to put a certain risk or rather reduce
Understood.
the price we put
All
on
I'm
our
saying
wickets.
is
That's it.
Bazball at this point is like that Mike Tyson quote, which is that everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face. And Bazball has not been punched in the face. Once they do, right?
Beautiful.
Like once they come and see and play against Australia or India and see that this doesn't work every time, they'll have to pivot, right? Because right now, all of the pressure is on the opposition saying, what will you do? Now imagine them folding for 91 runs or like, I don't know, 120 in India or Australia. suddenly they'll be on the back foot.
Let that
No,
happen.
they don't.
I
They
don't
don't
see
have
it
to
happening. That's
backtrack,
what I'm saying.
Tony. See, the point is,
And
is,
a couple of points, right? One chopper. Just a moment. Couple of
yeah,
things.
go.
We think they will fold for 90. I'm saying they will still not. They will still make 230. They'll just make it in 25 overs. Because in 25 overs, other teams
Time.
make 90. They will make 225, which is a very good score.
Doesn't matter, no?
Secondly, I don't, even if they collapse for 90, I don't think they will have to change their approach. They might not change their approach unless this consistently fails against
Correct.
good teams, which are very few.
See,
anyway.
That's
you
the point,
hit-
Tony. The point is, as of now, everybody of us there, we are able to name only 2 teams again, and in specific conditions where Bazball will take a beating. Australia in England, India in India. Nothing Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, South Africa, nothing at all. The point is, the success of the whole parameter of the whole Bazball era is going to be decided by how many test matches you end up winning.
Yes.
They will still win a lot of test matches. They will, I mean, if they continue to do so well in the next WTC cycle, you might see them, making the finals, etc. So they will take a beating against 2 teams in 2 specific conditions. Otherwise, if the bowling strength of the other teams continues to remain what it is as of now, they don't really need to change their approach.
Also,
They will,
by the way,
they'll say, India made didn't work. We tried this, that, whatever. Maybe
they will
take one
stretch
test.
India. They will not get hammered. They will stretch India. They'll be very close games.
They can.
will not
I
fold.
look forward to the next tour of England
That,
and India.
by the way,
but the
and
point
also
is,
the Ashes in England, by the way.
Yeah.
Australia also have to score runs. Otherwise, they're not going to.
Marnus and Smith will eat them like
Anderson will be bowling.
toasties in pocket, dude. It doesn't
Anderson
matter.
and Broad.
Okay. Anyway, the great thing about all this is next WTC, England is playing both Australia and India. Australia in England, which I still think it won't be they're not going to win. It'll probably be like a 2-2 or something at max. Or 2-2 doesn't happen in Bazball, right? 3-2 Australia to win. And in India, they're going to still lose like 3-1 or something. Now it's a 5-test series, is it?
It's a 5-test series in India.
So then 4-1 max.
4 of them will be in Ahmedabad. 5th one, Dharamshala, rescheduled to Ahmedabad. So 5 tests in Ahmedabad.
No, but
opening bowling.
Chops brought up a very interesting point about, because the WTC, what it has done is it has become a game of percentages.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to play percentage cricket over a period of 18 months or something like that. And when you're doing that, so even if you lose a series 3-2, you lose a series 4-1, as long as you've racked up enough wins, you'll still make the final. Yeah. And that still is going to give you a pretty good chance, right? And the other thing is, when Nitin was talking, I just realized that we have this whole notion of how test cricket has to be played, right? Because LOI, we say, okay, you're playing against number of balls. Test cricket, it always has been said that you're playing against time. That is the basic thing that has been told to people from years, that you are playing against time. So the longer you can stay, you have a chance of maximizing your runs, and therefore you have a chance of grinding out the opposition, and so on and so forth. That has been the playbook, and like we look at Pujara and all these guys too. That's what it essentially is. And this is why I like the whole concept, because we are now living in the era of bowlers. That is what everyone, you're seeing. You're not seeing games going to 550 runs, 600 runs anymore. So the 978 is never going to happen again, unless you bring back Nilesh Kulkarni and ask him to bowl.
952.
Oh, 952. Sorry.
Simple interest got added.
No, it's not going to happen. Right? So you're going to see at most 400 being scored in an inning. And with that, I think that is why this whole concept works. Like, no team is going to score more than 350, 400. We might as well give ourselves the best chance to take 20 wickets. So if they, and that is why I think Nitin's point works very well. And it's scary. And if they actually win the Ashes, then forget 4-1, 3-2 or 3-2 also is probably on when it comes to India, because they play 50 overs, they score 220. That's still enough than scoring 91. So that's any day doable.
And also Bazball, independent of Bazball, 400 is a pretty good winning score, right? Historically speaking, also, even recency bias, if I have to introduce, we got an innings victory against Australia with just 1 400 score on the board, right? Like, so very well plausible. But then the question then becomes, what kind of a track that you surf, right? Like, is it going to start turning from first day or whatever, or what, right? because from my fundamental read, you are not only taking the time out of the equation, you're also taking the conditions out of the equation, right? If I'm saying that if I have to score 200 odd, 175 odd in like 20 overs, like a T20 game, I have to take the conditions out of the equation, which means that, hypothetically in a scenario, a Chennai or a Bangalore might actually end up seeing like higher scores. Whereas in an Ahmedabad with a slightly longer boundary, 200, 210 might be good enough, right? Not really in innings defeat, but whoever is batting fourth will have to look at, say, easily 200 as the target. And now on which day that comes in will be important. It comes on day 2, I will still back the team that's batting fourth. If it comes on somewhere around day 3, second session, T session, then Saha only.
I have to point this out. 4 months before Border Gavaskar Trophy happened, we did BGC preview. Now we are doing 2024 WTC Pencil Tours, which may or may not happen ka preview. Not only that, even teams are, when they are playing Test cricket these days, are not thinking about WTC final or any of that rubbish because it is full Jai Mata Di, let's rock this. We are like, teams should play percentage cricket in order to make the WTC. Macha, ICC absolutely has to just hire us, man. Like, we can run this game.
Nitin Sundar encouraging people to talk like he doesn't have to edit this shit is why. But
he's sitting in the ICC headquarters city.
One final point about Bazball, right? Which is that like Bazball is not a thing, right? Like it doesn't change the way they bowl, right? Has it? Like no, it's just like saying,
it does. Their field placing.
Approach.
You look at their field placing.
No, but that's because of the runs they are scoring. It's not.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
if they scored the same runs over 200 overs,
at
they
this
would still
point
go the
in
same
time,
way,
right? Like you've joined a poker table. There is a big bully with a fat stack, and he's like, "I'm going to shove all in every time." Right? If you have the balls to call me, right? And no one is like that stupid enough at this point in time to see that as optimal gameplay. But it is only a matter of time, dude. Like it's like, if this like strategy works, which is that everyone just goes hammer and tongs, you will see every team adopting it, right? It is basically right now it is
right.
novel and like
Tony, you're right. If we were in the 2000s, when you had flat pitches everywhere and teams were able to score 500 without taking risks, I would have agreed with you. We are unfortunately in an era, or whatever, fortunately we are in an era where bowlers are dominating, and getting 200 on the board is very, very difficult across the world.
He chased like 300 in Gabba, dude. Like it's okay. Like they chased 370 plus to win. Like on Sydney on day 5, Ashton and Vihari or whoever it was, like stood the test of time, right?
You're right, but
like,
and also
if you look at the averages, this is a bowling era, right? Compared to the 2000s, we are at least 10,
which is why Rishabh Pant was very effective when he did what he did.
It is,
right?
but that's not. I mean, you're saying he's the fat stack bully. Then
no, now England is saying, what if we batted like 11 Rishabh Pants, right? And they're doing it against weaker oppositions without like enough sort of data points to say that it is a sustainable.
No, fair enough.
Let's wait for them to play stronger opponents. I agree. We have we have made ChatGPT. We have fully simulated the future.
We have to record this prediction and then like throw pie at my face. But I am
all getting safe for
sure
posterity.
that England is going to lose against Australia and against India in the next 2 series.
It could happen. I just hope they are great series. That's all I care about.
Also, I think the only reason why and England's such a conservative approach to a lot of these things, right? I think the only reason why is because England was eliminated from the WTC with 10 tests to go, right? With 10 tests to go, they were eliminated from the WTC. So that is why they're like, kuch bhi kar le, doesn't matter. Otherwise, a new coach comes in and says, boss, I'm going to do this. He'll be kicked out of the door immediately. But they're eliminated. They have nothing to lose right now. And even the current New Zealand thrashing that's happening doesn't count towards WTC points. So they have had a free rein to also play it because there has been nothing on the line for them.
Yeah.
Right? All these 10 games that they won, they have all they're all garbage time. When you play No, so it's
Ian
garbage
Healy
time.
standing with garbage bin.
Garbage time is a
Episode
thing we
title
use
also, sir.
in fantasy, because you
Oh.
pick a player and then they score points. The game is over, but you still watch because you want them to score points because
Oh.
they're on your fantasy.
This is like Kaustub's wasting. Something like that.
This is like why we pick KL Rahul in every fantasy.
Hey, you're
So, yeah,
putting
so-
goal
so
on
these
both
are garbage
sides and
time
you're
wins.
standing in the middle. Goal is going both sides. Sorry,
And
go
that
on,
is the
man.
only reason they've had a free reign to go ahead and implement it, and it has worked for them thus far. But with something on the line, how will they play when these are counting towards qualifications? That is when true pressure comes in. Right now, they can lose. They would have lost all these 10 games 0-0. Nothing would have changed, because
Amazing.
only when the new WTC starts is when these points matter.
There are
So-
basically 6 people in the world who care about WTC, and they are talking about this. Like, when Stokes is like, what WTC? What is that?
But
There's
no
no
Nitin
cricket
Sundar,
being played.
I have
Yeah.
a question for you. Was Sam Hinkie right all along? Is it about like tanking to a point of no return when England did it with one days and then like reinvented the game and like hit rock bottom in Australia 4-0 when David Gower skewered Joe Root after that, and they
Yeah.
had nowhere else to go. Do you think that is what we need to do? Hit rock bottom, like make KL Rahul captain. Like,
Oh, I
fuck
thought by
him.
hit rock
Yeah,
bottom, I
that's-
thought
that already happened, no?
Hey,
And vacuum.
hit rock bottom will be repeat of 2007 where we have a first innings exit in
Yeah.
ODI World Cup.
Post innings
Honestly,
There you go.
exit.
That
that
helped.
is
too.
rock bottom.
We won 2 World Cups after that immediately.
Yeah, with by the way, exactly the same team. With the same name.
With the same team.
Even Dinesh Karthik did not go away from 2007. Only Chappell went away. He's off the coach. Anyway.
But I was asking this in the context of there's been some women's cricket also happening this
Yes.
year. World Cup.
Yeah.
And India was pretty much acing that match against Australia, right? It was reminiscent of one of the probably 90s performance by the men's team. And ex-captain Diana Edulji has come down hard on the women's team, saying we need to, disrupt this, do away with the star culture, look at fitness, X, Y, and Z. But I don't think India ever gets to a point where it's rock bottom, right? We're like, okay,
No.
semifinals.
We don't. You're right.
Here's the thing, right? It's something that I spoke about even in the last week's pod, right? We have the right people. We just somehow miraculously managing to get the order wrong for some reason, right? It's like if you draw a pattern and if you see like what was, what's gone wrong, and go back up to the last year when they've lost some like crunch games, even that solitary win against Australia and that super over and all of that, right? You paint yourself towards a corner where you invariably need 15 of the last over or like some 25 of 2 or something like that, right? And who do you send at that point? You send Deepti Sharma or probably the tail. When ideally she should have been the one who was batting up ahead. Didn't happen again this time. Jaddu went in ahead. Same mistake.
Sameer, I'm sure they know all this, right? Like,
the point
I mean, sorry to break it to you, but surely the team is aware that, ex-batsman batter should play at this level. Let us face it, Australia is a great team. You give them one opening, they will run
monster
India
team.
give them one opening. India, in fact, played a really bad game. They bowled poorly, they dropped catches, they lost early wickets. It was two batters played superbly.
That chase was asked to lose. Okay.
No.
Exactly.
The chase was asked to lose, but the game was set up very poorly.
Yeah, it was set up early. We came back into the game superbly thanks to that wonderful partnership, right? And even after that, all it took, and this is the Australian machine, right? You give them one opening, they will barge through. And Harmanpreet's run out was that opening. That's it. After the game was over, we all knew the game was over the moment she was run out. Let's be honest, right? It doesn't matter who comes after, because Indian team doesn't have the right personnel to come and slog those bowlers.
And just to really underline the difference between the two teams, in that crunch situation, there was the save at the boundary by Elise Perry.
Yeah,
that is inhuman.
There's
inhuman save that is.
Brilliant save.
I mean, they're clearly a much more professional team, well trained. There's a lot more money going into Australian cricket, women's cricket today, unfortunately, than Indian women's cricket. Let's face it. Hopefully, things will change with WPL coming in. All of this happening, the attention that they got for this World Cup was also very good. We are still probably the second best team in the world, which is not a bad place to be, despite the fact that
as the only person on this podcast to have a selfie with Jemmy. Heart.
Ooh.
You can see it. Tell us. I think she came out and said this team on average is 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
Imagine where we'll be in the next 2 years. What is your take?
24.
No, I think it's very much what Nitin said. I think it's a miracle that we are reaching the finals and semi-finals given the
You
resources.
agree
that
with
we-
everything Nitin saying, right? You two should get a podcast of your own. only.
Oh, wait.
Oh, subtle plug.
Well played.
So yeah, I mean, given the resources that we have put in, it's a miracle that we have this kind of performance every World Cup or whatever be the series that we are playing. Once the WPL starts, it's going to be, I'm sure, a very, very different situation. If nothing else, we have the power of numbers behind us, unlike New Zealand. And the other important thing about Australia, what Nitin mentioned, I mean, forget the WBBL. You just have to follow, their I don't know what the equivalent is, Vijay Hazare Trophy, which is the ODI trophy that the women play, or T20 trophy that the Australian women play in their states, Sheffield
Smack.
Shield, Sheffield
Fury
Shield.
Cup.
It's called the WNCL,
Fury Cup.
which is
Fury.
WNCL.
Pura and Pura.
Pura joke miss ho gaye. Chalo.
So yeah, I mean that tournament itself is like very, very high quality. So and England have done the same. I mean, England have done massive investment in women's cricket. They've almost seen it to be bigger than cricket itself. It's like a cultural coming together and all of that stuff. India,
just
once
because they
it's-
write
I
good
am-
words, what nonsense.
No.
Please.
No,
Actually, I
seriously,
have
Manoj,
a,
I'm
let Talk
saying-
finish. I have a theory for this, but yeah, go on.
So it's going to be, like the second mover advantage, a third mover advantage for us. We've seen how our women can do well. We have the example of all these leagues and everything else that's there in, the women's cricket around the world. Like we had T20 cricket starting in England. We'll just have to run WBL well for like 3-4 years and then we'll just win everything. I'm telling you, I mean, Australia is a good team right now. They'll undergo some sort of transition at some stage. Lanning and Gardner and Perry and all of these guys will move out and we'll have new people coming in. And by that time, India will be ready, raring to go and we'll just beat everyone to pulp.
When
Wait and
my
watch.
daughter
Plus
finally plays
one.
for India.
Absolutely.
No, wait and watch.
Yeah.
They'll do the Indian version of Kolpak and join all the WPL teams over here. No
could
national
happen.
duty.
No, but I just want to bring one point before Nitin tells his theory, right? Like, one is this hate that the Indian women cricketers are getting from all seniors and all of that, and from different quarters, right? That's unwarranted. They've played a good tournament. Yes, you met Australia in the semifinals and you got rolled over because you gave them one window. But what I also figured out is this team is again undergoing a transition, right? Like Mithali Raj is retired, Julian Goswami is retired. There are all the new people. who are
Mithali
still
Raj is
coming.
retired. Thank God.
Thank God, yeah, thank God. So it's all looking up. I mean, the thing is, this is fundamentally still a team in transition, right? Like the fact that we just won the first under-19 Women's World Cup, right? Like under Shafali Verma, who played for both teams, right? So there is potential, but the thing is, what I would ask some folks, if they're listening or whatever, is some patience, right? Like, come on, yeah, you are just. It was down to two key moments that
We are
lost.
listening. We are listening.
Yeah, not just you. It was down to two key moments that we lost, and it was the same in the England game also. So yeah, I mean, some rope needs to be given. I mean, we've given KLR a long rope. Yeah, come on, this and all is not even an issue. You should actually be celebrating them. But
So
like,
it's really unfair to compare the women's semi-final exit with the men's semi-final exit because they're totally on different planes. First of all, this is a team which does not even have a proper coaching.
It doesn't have
set.
a coach. Yeah.
Doesn't
That's
have
what I'm
a
saying.
head
They don't have a proper coach right now, and they are in the semi. And the other one is that when
Shah
you're
Rukh
playing
Khan
no, but when you play teams like Australia and England, right? The other thing, and they will know, and which is why I find it unpardonable for them in the men's game, but is that Australia, even though Jemmy and Harman were going really good, Australia always knew that it is only a matter of moments. They're always in the game, right? And then that belief they have, And it's because of all these other tournaments that they're playing, like Chops brought up. But I was actually watching highlights of one of those games. Again, I know what you're going to say, but
Of course.
there's like 4 runs to win in 6 balls, and then she takes 5 wickets, and they win by 1 run. I was watching that. But that's the thing. Once you play games like that, high pressure situations against good oppositions, you don't play the opponent, you play the situation. Right, and that is when you are, okay, I've done this multiple times. I've been in a similar situation multiple times when the opposition is chasing against us. We know, okay, it's only 1 wicket, 1 run out or whatever, and then it was that Ellis Perry save, and so on, right? So that's where it is, and the WPL is going to give them that, right? They will be playing the situation because they'll have much more of these tense games where Megan Schutt or Ash Gardner or someone is bowling and they have to get 18 balls, 35 runs. So then, it'll be different after that. But until then, yeah, it's unfair. The men's game is unpardonable, right? You have these guys who are doing that at the IPL. They're having to score 17 balls, 52 runs. They have done that, and then they go and do Kundi Kholo against Adil Rashid and shit like that. So, that is unpardonable.
Fully on point.
No, but the only thing that I'll say in sort of slight opposition is the fact that I don't think the Indian men's team need to do much different in ODIs or tests. In T20, it is a completely different equation. And like by lumping all the semifinal exits together, or the WTC final together, we're doing it a disservice, right? T20 needs a complete reimagination, which we don't have the balls to do, which is why I said maybe we need to hit rock bottom. I don't know what rock bottom is beyond going out of the group stage in one of those T20 World Cups where Ashton Agar was also bowling chops. But the point is, like, we place too much value on semi-final exits. One team has to lose. Yeah, it's like South Africa has finally, after years together in the men's and women's team, finally reached a final.
They will choke today.
This is the first team. It's not like it is the first team that is supposed to reach semi-finals, right? Like statistically, it's like the biggest anomaly ever that South Africa.
Everybody forgets that they won the first ever mini World Cup, though.
What the fuck is a mini World Cup?
that Challenger series, no ICC.
The Champions Trophy with South Africa wins. What the fuck is mini World Cup?
Hey, also New Zealand won the second one, da.
Okay.
No, but I'm saying like semi-finals are a shootout, right? But like more pertinent to the point is that how are you doing over a period of time in terms of win-loss and your approach to the whole game and like in multiple conditions. Yeah, that's all.
So
here's my Nitin, time for your theory. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So here's my theory on Indian women's cricket and why it is where it is at. It is the same reason why grounds are shit in India. Crowd experience is shit in India. The BCCI is sitting on a pile of money with men's cricket and their broadcasting rights. They don't have to care about any other aspect of cricket, be that fans, be that women's cricket, be that anything else to do with cricket, right? They have literally been shamed into starting the Women's Premier League now. They've been shamed into giving equal pay to the women because people have been asking, what the hell, you guys are sitting on shitloads of money and you're not, supporting women's cricket. And in fact, the previous board president is on record saying that he doesn't believe in women's cricket, right? N. Srinivasan was against women's cricket. That's where you're at. The reason Australia is better at women's cricket is because they need to attract women audience to keep their cricket interesting. England needs to do the same thing. India does not have to do that, or the BCCI feels they don't have to do that. Same reason why grounds are better, ticketing is better. That's why Dharamshala test got moved to Indore. That's why Indian women's cricket is shit. But yeah, hopefully things will get better now because they're at least being shamed into action. It's about time. It's many years late, but hopefully change is happening now. That's my theory. Sorry.
Wonderful.
Yeah, on point.
And one point also on Harmanpreet. I think she was unwell before the game.
Oh yeah.
Obviously took in some sort of medicines and took the field.
Seriously,
played a stellar innings. Super. I don't know whether the run out was casual or not.
As she was running back, in my mind, I was like, run faster. Why are you running slowly? Right? And then even before they went up in appeal, I was like, shit, this could be out. I didn't know at that point how ill Harmanpreet was going into this game, but seen in the context of that, the fact that she played that innings after popping all the pills and coming in is great. Yeah.
And then took all these questions front on
very well.
and with a lot of grace, mind you. I mean, I don't know too many others who would have done that in the lineup firing. So
absolutely.
So the game is set up well. They'll do wonders. I have no doubts.
Yeah.
100%.
Super. Shall we wrap, guys? It has only been 140 minutes.
I think we need one final mention for the winners of the Ranji Trophy, for which Jaddu Ashwin was kindly let go.
But not Shami.
Yeah. So yeah, Sarashtra won the Ranji Trophy. Some wonderful news. Second time round.
I hope Unatka gets
Third
to
time,
play
no?
one of the remaining test matches.
Second time. And the same season where they win the Vijay Hazare.
Oh yeah,
Good for them.
The
In
best
fact,
thing
the
was
rice
the
and
reception they
rice
got
also.
at the airport.
yeah.
That was
so good.
the best thing. I haven't seen that before, so that was really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Sheldon Jackson also scored a century again in the finals.
Semis, no?
Semis also and in the finals. Yeah.
Finals, okay.
Pop knockout. Just magic word to activate Sheldon Jackson is go say it's a knockout, and he'll just score runs by boatloads.
Did Mayank Agarwal semi-finalists also do spectacular things? Is he in line to replace KL Rahul again?
900
What is
runs.
that college? Was that college in Bangalore? Jain College or
College.
Mahavir College or something?
Jain College. Mayank Agarwal.
What is it?
Shreyas
What
Gopal.
college? What about
Both of
college?
them were classmates there.
Oh,
KL and
Ah,
Mayank.
like Bisi and Uttapa.
Yeah.
No.
Even Shreyas Gopal is from that.
I wish we were
college.
classmates.
Yeah.
only netmates.
It's-
Okay,
36.
guys,
Okay.
we'll close before Tony runs away. Yeah. All right. So that brings a close to episode number 60. Like I said, the theme for this episode was stretches, and we have stretched this on and on for I don't know how long. And I'm good. My night is going to stretch ahead of me as I edit this podcast. Hopefully, by
Please
the time we've put
finely
this
chopped. Finely chopped.
Finely chopped.
finally chopper nosed episode. By the time this episode hits the airwaves, hopefully South Africa have not choked in the final and have beaten Australia, but more likely Australia won the Women's World Cup.
You've done everything except mention the name of the pod that you and Jobs do.
I did right at the start.
Oh, it'll also be
in
in the
Jobs
show
intro.
notes.
Yes.
No, you just mentioned podcast. You didn't say heads and tails.
Oh, did I? Shit. Okay. Yeah, Chopper Nose, please plug your great new podcast. We allow all of them.
with dashing dude.
With your dashing co-host.
Dashing co-host.
Right. Go on.
Oh, okay. Hey, fuck it.
Pressure.
All right. Please
Pressure.
continue to listen to Bits and Pieces, the best cricket podcast
Okay.
out there. Give us 5 stars.
Heads
on
and Tails.
Spotify.
Okay, wait, one second. Heads and Tails, which is another podcast that I've given 5 stars to, is really amazing, mostly because of the editing. Because Chops and Nitin get together on a Monday evening and put chats for 75 minutes, which I think the best audio producers in India. Avdoot and Rajesh, you'll know them from our last week if you've heard it, who also plugged Heads and Tails. So I don't know why I'm doing this. But anyway, it's
By the way,
amazing because
your IVM guys are listening to you, and they're going to cut your contract.
they're terrible, dude. Like IVM is the worst production. I mean, I'm
Okay.
happy to say this on record. But anyway, they obviously have great content, which starts with a segment on what is happening in the world of cricket right now, and then takes a deep dive into a past match, right? Like from history. The latest one, I think, was from 1981 in Melbourne when Gavaskar threatened to walk off the field.
Yeah.
And what an amazing podcast it is just to listen.
Thank
to.
you. Yeah, we went all out on
Heads
the
and Tails.
81 episode. Yeah, absolutely.
81 not out.
I was going for that only. But yes, whether you listen to Heads and Tails or not, please continue to listen to Bits and Pieces. Continue to patronize this podcast and let your friends know so that more people listen to us and more people discover us. Until next week, this is the Bits and Pieces gang saying bye-bye. See you all. Say
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.